The movie is set in a dystopian future where mankind has suffered the wrath of nature for their reckless actions. Global warming has melted glaciers in the Arctic, leading to a rise in sea level and consequently leaving continents submerged. This, coupled with other catastrophic events including wars, has wiped off a large chunk of the population. The survivors have derived ways to stay alive by building floating residences called atolls. However, this hasn't brought peace as a group of scavengers called smokers roam around capturing the atolls forcefully. In the opening scene, we are introduced to our protagonist, a mariner and drifter named the Mariner. The man has spent his entire life in the sea and has since learned to survive in the endless waters. He has developed a recycling system to clean his urine and reuse it as no fresh water exists. To survive, he regularly trades with the atolls for soil, which is a rare commodity. This leads the atolls to believe in a special place called dry land that wasn't submerged in the past. However, no one bears any witness to the place and the mariner doesn't explain the source of the dirt. Using his trimaran, he has managed to cover a large area of the endless waters, giving him tons of experience. One day, while on his deep sea exploration, a cunning drifter sneaks onto his boat and steals his valuables, including limes he has toiled to grow. However, when scavengers called smokers appear in the distance, we get to see Mariner's trimaran full power. At first, the thieves laugh at him, knowing the smokers will be on his neck soon as his boat lacks sails. Unbeknownst to him, Mariner's boat is a highly advanced mechanized boat that unfolds the sails in seconds. Since his trimaran is massive, he charges at the thief in vengeance and runs over him, destroying his sails and consequently letting smokers get him. He then peacefully proceeds to an atoll for trade and is let in immediately when he announces to have some soil with him. Unbeknownst to them, however, he is here on a different mission after catching wind of a mysterious girl residing in the atoll. She has a tattooed map on her back believed to be an encrypted route to the fictional dry land. True to the rumors, he spots the girl and gets more information about her after buying liquor for a local drunkard. However, things head south on his way out when a family presents their daughter to him for his seed. Due to the prolonged procreation in the same bloodline, defections are set to occur and his pregnancy would break this. However, he rejects their offer, leading them to believe he is a spy, as one can barely do that if he has been alone for long. He is immediately apprehended for questioning and much is uncovered about the seemingly normal man. They notice his strangely webbed feet and gills, resembling those of fish behind his ears. They realize he's a mutant who has evolved to survive the harsh sea and is immediately put under confinement. Shortly afterwards, smokers who have also caught wind of the girl's story hatch a plan to abduct her from the atoll. Led by their captain alias Deacon, they secretly line up to the atoll for an ambush in the night to avoid detection. Meanwhile, Mariner is declared a threat to the residents and set to be eliminated by being drowned in an organic concoction. The following morning, everyone gathers to witness his execution as he is slowly lowered. However, this is cut short when smokers are detected and people head to their respective stations to prepare a defense. Smokers who are well equipped close in on them and launch a fierce attack that destroys their walls in minutes. As the fight intensifies, it's revealed that the young girl named Enola is aggressively guarded by her guardian Helen. For the longest time, she has been secretly planning to leave for dry land alongside a navigator named Gregor. However, Greg hasn't decoded the map on Enola's back, leaving them stranded despite having a getaway gas balloon. As the smokers brutally obliterate the atoll, Greg resorts to the balloon and calls out for Helen to join her. However, he accidentally loses grasp of the balloon's anchor, which then flies away to the dismay of Helen. With the looming danger, she is forced to turn to a sinking mariner for help. She vows to cut him loose if he promises to take them with him. He easily outmaneuvers the smokers, disappearing into the distant waters. As things calm down, Deacon is furious to find Enola missing after thoroughly combing the atoll for her. He is forced to re-strategize to catch the seemingly dangerous mariner. Meanwhile, Helen is shocked when Mariner says they will have to get rid of Enola for their supplies to last long enough for the long journey. However, Helen is not ready to lose the little girl and opts to stay hungry and keep her. Seeing the beast still unmoved, she offers herself up, and it seems to work for a moment before he declines the offer. He is clearly mean to them, seeing them as an impediment to his smooth sailing. He is further irritated by Enola when she starts drawing trees on his boat, saying she is coloring it for him. Instead of questioning her knowledge of such features that only exist on land, he is furious and throws her into the water. Helen, who knows Enola will drown as she barely knows how to swim, jumps in to save her. Mariner seems to let them go, but finally comes around to pick them up. Just then, they spot a smoker's seaplane advancing towards them, prompting Mariner to jump inside and pick up his artillery. Helen, however, interprets this as fear as they come under heavy fire from the smokers, prompting her to act fast to save them. She immediately reaches out for the large spear gun at the boat's front and fires at the plane. The gun sends out a hook which pierces into the plane and holds it in place. The pilot is forced to circle the boat to stay afloat as he tries his best to cut it free. This consequently has Mariner's boat sails tangled, but Mariner spots it in time and goes up to cut it loose. The pilot manages to do so first and flies away and throws Mariner into the water. When he swims back, he is angry at them for destroying his boat, Helen for acting without his permission and consequently destroying his boat, and Enola for drawing on his boat despite his warning. With their food reserves running out, they are forced to go hungry, and Mariner does nothing as part of the punishment. However, he is overwhelmed by hunger himself, prompting him to go fishing as they watch him in awe. He single-handedly captures a big, mutated fish, using himself as bait, much to their delight. As they gather for dinner, he slowly gets acquainted and slowly becomes comfortable with them. Surprisingly, he comes to love Enola and coaches her on swimming, and the duo enjoy quality time together. Meanwhile, Deacon gets info from his seaplane pilot and extrapolates this to plot a possible attack point. He stages a barter outpost full of soldiers while others hide below water awaiting his arrival. As expected, he closes in and engages them in their local language, asking to trade for his boat servicing. When they don't respond, he immediately goes for an underwater look on his telescope and catches wind of the team. He changes course, prompting the team to act immediately, attempting to capture him. However, his experience helps him outrun them, leaving them shocked by his immense strength. He deploys additional sails which propels them fast, leaving Deacon and his team behind. Following this, he aggressively questions Helen on Enola's tattoo as he clearly knows the smokers were after her. She reveals that the tattoo is believed to be a map to dry land and that they found Enola in a basket before taking her in. She hypothesizes that whoever sent her into the waters might have done so to attract more survivors to the dry land. However, Mariner brushes off the idea, saying that he has sailed wide into the ocean with no sight of the mythical land. To prove his point, he takes her inside a homemade ball but leaves Enola as there isn't enough oxygen for both. Using his gills to breathe underwater, he takes Helen with her to the seafloor, which reveals the submerged cities in dirt. When they get back up, they are met by the fierce Deacon who has been trailing them. With Enola in his hands, Deacon orders for the execution of Helen and the Mariner, prompting them to jump into the water. Helen is terrified of drowning, but Mariner vows to breathe for them, and they dive deep into the waters while narrowly escaping bullets. He uses his gills to breathe and shares the air with Helen, and they technically make out for a moment. When the situation settles, the two are devastated upon rising as their boat has been burned, leaving them stranded. In this moment of clarity, Helen is curious to know why he rejected her early on, and he answers it's because she didn't like him then. However, the two are now acquainted and end up making love, after which Helen dozes off. Mariner then explores what is left of his boat and comes across Enola's drawings. They perfectly match those contained in his National Geographic magazines, meaning Enola has been on dry land. This great finding, however, proves useless in their situation, but something great happens when someone calls out for Helen. It's the peculiar Gregor in his balloon who has traced them from the boat's smoke and jokingly congratulates them for burning it up. The trio set out for a new mini atoll where survivors of the obliterated atoll are residing. Mariner, who has grown fond of Enola, single-handedly boards a jet ski to retrieve her. He asks Gregor to decode the map again after offering him mind-opening solutions. Meanwhile, Deacon acts nice to Enola to get information about her tattoo, but bears no fruit. Instead, she threatens that Mariner will come looking for her and destroy him totally. True to her words, Mariner traces their ship and secretly infiltrates it as everyone is glued to Deacon for an important address. Deacon lies to his men about finding the route to dry land and directs them to head down and row. This allows Mariner to retrieve Enola after blowing up the ship's oil reserves. Unfortunately, the ship breaks down, leaving them stranded. But luckily, Greg shows up again to their aid alongside Helen. However, their victory is cut short when Deacon shoots at their balloon, causing Enola to fall off into the water. Deacon and his men immediately line up to get her, but Mariner takes a dangerous dive and picks her up in the nick of time before springing back up, leaving Deacon and his men to crash. In the next scene, Greg manages to crack the map and they all set out following it. Later on, they come across a bird signaling their proximity to land, and true to it, they finally make it there. They are taken aback by the beautiful scenery they haven't seen from birth and immediately jump in to explore in jubilation. There, they come across a couple's skeleton remains, with maps similar to that on Enola lying around. They are revealed to be Enola's parents who sent her out in the hope of bringing more people to the deserted area. The dry land is revealed to be Mount Everest's peak, which wasn't fully submerged due to its height. In the closing scene, Mariner bids his new friends and family goodbye as he sets out for the sea, saying he isn't meant for land. Though it's sad to see him leave, the duo joyfully watch him sail into the deep waters from a cliff. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the content and share in the comments any movies you would like us to recap.